I'm Spencer.
And I'm me.
I thought you were gonna go, I'm independent.
Oh, I'm independent. Not politically.
And this is the
From a gaming standpoint.
and we're here to talk about the term indie games. So basically, what are indie games?
They're games, bro.
Per Wikipedia, independent games are video games created by individuals or small teams, generally without video game publisher financial support. Indie games often focus on innovation and rely on digital distribution. This definition is very loose.
Because what is innovation?
Well, it's on a lot of terms. It's very loose.
Yeah,
And an indie game changes depending on who you're talking to.
exactly.
So we wanted to discuss the different aspects of indie games and why we consider them indie games, why we don't consider them indie games, and if there is some kind of thread that runs through all of it.
We also want to get your thoughts on it, so be sure to comment below!
Your thoughts, yeah.
Or you could scream like me.
So
All caps, everyone. Do it.
So when we refer to indie games, we're more considering the more recent slew of indie games, maybe in the last 8 years or something like that. I don't know exactly the time
I
frame,
don't know,
but
8 years, but
relatively,
relatively.
we're not talking about like mud-based games way back in the day and like pure text and pure stuff like that. That's its
You're
own.
in a room. What now? Shit.
That's its own conversation. Its own
You
topic.
took a shit. No, yeah.
So we're talking about what happened when digital distribution became a thing.
Mm.
It gave everybody the opportunity to create their own games. It like we have these engines now that are easily accessible and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So now everybody has the ability to put their games out there on Steam Greenlight or
Everyone can touch each other now.
yeah, sexually. But it gives everybody the ability to do all that stuff. So these little games that it used to be a big thing, like it'd be impossible to get out because the cartridges are like $15 a pop or something.
Yeah.
Now people can just create their games and put them out for free, as it were, on Steam and on all these different options, GOG, that kind of thing. So, with the ability to digitally distribute stuff, we get a lot of games that are termed indie.
Yeah.
What indie games come to mind for you? And we get into why or why not they are. But
Well, see, I'm not sure, but one that just popped up was a Papillon. A Papillon. That one game, you and I didn't beat it. Played it.
I didn't really like that game, to be honest.
Oh, really? I like art direction, but that's another thing. Ooh, art direction, so it must be indie.
So when I think of indie, I think of Braid, think of Minecraft, I think of
Flower, maybe.
yeah.
I mean,
say
but
Flower.
it's Sony published it, but
We'll get into all that.
we'll get into
But just what do you think of when you think of indie?
yeah.
I think of
Limbo.
Limbo. Oh yeah, Super Meat
I
Boy.
can't play that game. He's Giant Spider.
I loved it. Super Meat Boy was a thing.
Um,
Ori. I think of Ori as an indie game.
Yeah, me too.
I just played that horror game. I'm trying to think of what the name was.
Outlast is technically qualified as indie.
White Knight. There it is. Yeah,
White
Outlast.
Knight. You know, honestly, like especially with the advent of a lot of like YouTubers that play horror games, a lot of horror games are considered indie. A lot of the most random ones, your Slenderman, The Arrival, like random stuff like that.
What Five Nights at Freddy's? That
Five Nights at Freddy's, completely by himself. All that stuff. It's super. They're called and all the knockoffs.
Axiom.
Five Nights at Fuckboy.
Not
Axiom Verge, which
Verge.
I was gonna get, but I was like, I want something better.
Yeah.
Hotline Miami. Here we go. That is not an opinion. I haven't played either game yet, but
So those are basically what the platform we're talking about.
yeah, that's what you think when you think indie.
All right. So now let's break down what indie is and see if these kind of games fit into that mold.
Okay.
So budget. Traditionally, an indie game has a low budget. What's low? I don't really know.
I'd say under $1 million.
I think that's definitely a good start. I think I can't remember what website I read this off of, but they said usually an indie game, to make it truly indie, they're using their own money, so basically zero, to make the game.
Yeah. But
Is that true? I don't know.
because when you think about that, when you break that down, when an indie game makes their own game, they're using their own money. That applies to Minecraft.
Mhm.
Okay, Notch definitely, by his self, pretty much came to and started to grow. the game, and eventually formed. I forgot the company that he was a part of before he got bought out. But you also have to look at things like Ori and the Blind Forest. Was that really entirely funded by the development team? No.
Probably not. I think they're at E3. I don't think any game at E3.
Yeah, you have to look at No Man's Sky. It still qualifies as an indie game, but guess what? Who's publishing it? Sony.
Right.
Right. So, and you can damn well bet. Here's some money, guys. Get to work. I hope it turns out good. So you can clearly see that they're kind of pushing a little bit of money their way to make a good product to essentially make a profit.
So yeah, then there's games like Super Meat Boy and stuff where it's pretty clear there's not a whole lot going on in terms of budget.
Yeah.
Doesn't make it a bad game.
Doesn't
Don't
make
think
it a
for a
bad
second I'm saying any of these games are bad
No.
or any of that. Well, this isn't our opinions on games. This is our opinions on what indies are. So low budget
nuts.
on that. Indies nuts. Indies nuts. But
Got him!
indecent nuts.
Oh, wow.
Step further.
See, you just gotta stop it, right? You stop it until it's dead.
So then another term kind of came to mind when I was discussing budget. Kickstarter.
Yeah, due to the increase of crowd-funded titles and games like that, we're starting to see budget really does not have a hold on indie. It can still qualify as indie, but guess what? You put money into it beforehand, and then probably after. So
yeah, a lot of these games, it's an indie game. The guy's by himself. He's like, we're not doing a whole lot here. Like, we need money. We need support.
or motivation, some would say.
They end up with millions of dollars. So
Going to town, talking to a guy, hey, can you guys do the assets for blank? All right, thanks, appreciate it.
right, suddenly you got this huge game that is indie.
Yeah.
It's there's no publisher.
No publisher.
I guess
Or
you are.
a
the
very
people.
unwell-known publisher, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And who cares? The game's out, right?
Right. So does that make it indie? I
Yeah.
don't know.
Can a game have indie game have a well-known publisher? Well, as we've already described, yes. In the case of Ori and the Blind Forest, for instance, yeah, Microsoft may have published it, Microsoft Studios, but the fact of the matter is they use the Microsoft development or indie development toolkit to actually create the game anyway. So it's kind of like a contract between them.
Right.
Go, hey, you guys make the stuff, we're gonna send it your way, or
That's
send
right.
it off.
So, I mean, a little studio made it, so that if it's that,
Mhm.
its budget probably wasn't huge.
No,
I bet you it's higher than a lot of indie games, but it
Yeah.
wasn't huge, so it gets that going for it, but it does have a publisher,
Yeah.
which per Wikipedia's terminology means it's not an indie game. Well, generally without a video game publisher, again, very loose to the rules,
Yeah.
but if that's one of your criteria, then no, it doesn't fit as an indie game.
Okay, so what is a publisher designed to do? Well, they're supposed to market your game, usually. I mean, they can do other things too, right? They can jerk you off with money. They want to. Here's a couple thousand. But at the end of the day, they can also market your game, which is their primary job. They're supposed to go, hey, like if anyone who's ever seen recently Mortal Kombat when it came out, left and right, that I swear to God that commercial kept happening. And I was like, okay, I get it. Right, it's coming out. All right, cool. That is publishing right there. That's the publisher at work.
So I guess the next step then is indie games aren't supposed to really have marketing, the marketing backbone.
If there's one thing that I actually agree on is that they don't have as strong a level as marketing. Very, very few will.
Which I agree that they don't necessarily have an as strong campaign of marketing.
Uh-huh.
But I think that goes into the idea of what do you mean by numbers? So like budget. Like is they have a low budget. Well, what does that mean? They have low marketing. What does that exactly mean? Because I use one specific example, Steam.
Okay.
Now, as a gamer, I don't really pay attention to marketing. I don't watch TV. I don't really...
That's not something that all gamers do.
Right. This is just me. But I mean, it's going to lead to a point here.
Right.
So, on YouTube, I'm the first person to skip an advertisement as soon as the 5 seconds pops up. So, I try to get through all that shit. Where does the one place hit me the most for marketing? Steam. When I'm looking through Steam, in a huge window at the top, it has a list of games that just came out. And I guarantee you, if a even decent size or decently supported indie game comes up, it's going to be in that window. And it's the first thing I see when I pop into Steam.
Mm.
So you could argue that they don't really have marketing, but just being a new game on Steam, you're going to have some marketing.
Well, Steam is its own level of marketing, and
Right.
you know, at the end of the day, it's however Valve wants to present your thing. As far as I know, Valve doesn't do the kind of thing where you can pay to be on their ad.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I mean, I don't use Steam nearly as much as you do.
I'm very busy on there every day. And it'll tell you, like, top deals, and it'll have a game right there that shows you. Or it'll just say new games and just have a big slide. And it's, like, the biggest thing on the screen.
Yeah.
So you could argue that, yeah, they don't really have marketing except in the biggest place where you can possibly buy anything.
I think the biggest thing, I want to say, I relate Steam to, like, an underground movement, sort of, or a grassroots movement.
Mm-hmm.
To where Steam is the biggest word of mouth. It doesn't matter if it's online. It is
Right.
word of mouth electronically. Like,
Right.
anyone who goes, all right, this game is awesome. Like, a big example is, you'll see this a lot. Like, people go like, oh, Total Biscuit, for instance, like this game. I'm probably going to like it, you know? Because he has all this pull, because he's this grass movements kind of guy, you know?
Yeah.
It pays off for him to be able to be like, oh, this game's good, whatever, and watch the sales just go up on it. Or same thing with PewDiePie, except he's not really the same. You know, that's why Skate 3, they had to resell Skate 3.
It's crazy.
That's nuts. But that's the thing. It's word of mouth. If enough people like a product, eventually you may not even like the same product. But you're going to be like, fuck it, you know, it got an 80 on Metacritic, you know.
Right. Marketing is completely different these days than just, and this makes me sick, but an advertisement in a Game Informer.
Yeah, especially the Game Informer. But it's changing, and it's definitely something that's more in control of us.
Right.
Than anything. So marketing, publisher has, as to an extent, a level of marketing. Because in this day and age, it's very easy to just get the facts and you can just go, all right, here's what they said. All right, let me get some user reviews and stuff like that. That's becoming the norm. That's what people more care about. A personality they like or a bunch of, a majority sort of rules.
Right. I think that's basically what an advertisement is in 2015.
Yeah.
Is a character you like on YouTube, green screen, or just instead just pure gameplay,
Green screen.
like Total Biscuit, where it's just pure gameplay where you can't see it.
Yeah.
And what does that guy think? What does that guy think of it?
Yeah.
So that really is the most glowing review or glowing advertisement you can get these days.
Exactly.
And then the other one is, in my opinion, Steam, just showing you like, hey, this game just came out. All you need is a cool looking picture and a unique concept that you can tagline with it.
Right.
And like all you have to say is show a cool picture or something, and then it says classic turn-based style RPG. I'm gonna click on
it's great. You can rewind time. You're like,
right? Why not? I mean, all it is a click away. I can see if I'm interested or not.
That's true.
Nothing. I mean, the advertisement on page, I can't click on that, so that advertisement's useless. The advertisements on YouTube, where you have to click after 5 seconds, like that's useless. I'm just bothered by it.
Exactly.
But if it's a Steam saying, "Hey, we got this new game,"
it's not inconveniencing you.
Right. It's just click on it if you want. It looks cool. Like all
cool graphic. Yeah. So, I mean, that raises the question: what do you guys think a indie game is? I mean, obviously, based on our discussion, it's hard to pinpoint. You can't really define it as one particular thing. The closest potential thing being marketing. But
I think I guess the if I were to really define it, if somebody held a gun to my head and said, tell me what an indie game is," which he does all the time.
Help me. SOS.
Save me. But
yeah,
somebody held a gun to my head and said, "What is an indie game? How can I just know what an indie game is?" Because he really wanted to know.
Yeah.
Like, and he would kill somebody just to know.
Mm-hmm.
I would say it's just gaming turned low with focus with focus
turn
on
that shit down.
with focus on innovation and style.
Yeah.
That's what I would probably say.
Then innovation, get into that style.
Well, innovation can be determined by the person that plays it, but
just as much as style.
Just as much as style. That I know that kind of stuff is all subjective, which determines whether it's good or not.
Yeah.
The side of not determining whether it's good or not is everything just turned low. So
yeah.
Budget would be low, and you can argue Kickstarter, yada yada. But so yeah, you got the Kickstarter, and it can make a game like $4 million or something like that. Usually, I mean, there's some outliers, but in general, it's still not really in comparison to like the staffing and all that a game like Destiny or Grand Theft Auto's had.
Yeah.
Which is ridiculous.
ridiculously amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, $500,000 or $500 million. Yeah, let's do it.
I still
got
don't know.
the money back. So.
I still don't know if Destiny really costs that much to make. There's a lot of
There was the thing, the concept behind it, just like the Old Republic.
yeah.
It's the most expensive game ever. And then, oh wait, what is that? Destiny in the distance.
Yeah. So the idea seems to be that they don't really have that going for them.
Yeah.
And then budget marketing is supposed to be low. Okay, so they have Steam and that, but they don't have like the other advertisements outside.
Yeah, you're not going to see Ori and the Blind Forest on TV before it comes out.
Right. Although it was at E3.
Although it was at E3.
Some of these have been leaking into E3, which is interesting.
I kind of felt like it was more of a ploy by Microsoft to be like, hey, we're indie friendly, come on. Because Sony is like, hey, you love us. We love third party.
Right.
So
we can agree that those are the general concepts.
The general concepts.
As for the innovation and style, as you kind of mentioned, it's kind of subjective.
Yeah.
But I would say that they have to use those as tools.
Yes, they did.
For the games. So you got a game like Two Brothers has to lean on the idea that there's two of them and that's the control scheme to make it unique and stand out.
Yeah.
Otherwise, if these games were just to compete with like Call of Duty on a pure technical level, they get shut down. So they kind of have to rely on quirks and style and innovations to make it. Yeah,
and it's kind of like we did discuss this last week, which led to this week's video. And one of the things that was actually, I'm not trying to toot my own horn here, but no, one of the things that was interesting, I'm really not, I'm serious, I'm dead serious, I'm not, was that it should be treated as abstract art in a sense that indie is what you kind of like make of it or define of it. Because there's so many things that you say, well, it's this, and there's so many proven differences, like, well, how come this game's indie when this one isn't? And it really comes down to how it feels, how you see it, how you view it, and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Because I would call, more minimalistic games indie. Like, I would even call freaking Tomb Raider and, like Temple of Osiris or the previous, I forgot what that one was, more indie. Because they took a different direction, and it was just about that. They worked so well on those kinds of games.
That is an interesting concept. Perhaps indie isn't necessarily a catch-all term that we're supposed to apply, but more a style that we can refer to.
A feeling.
A feeling, exactly. So we could say, well, maybe we shouldn't be saying these are indie games or this is an indie game or something. We should say that it's styled like it has an indie style to it.
Yeah.
So we can say, well, yeah, Grand Theft Auto was this, but there was an indie catch here like this. Yeah. So it doesn't necessarily, maybe a label isn't the best approach to.
Maybe it's more of it's a genre in itself, not based off of how it was produced or created, but more about the feeling and how you felt about it. So that's some deep shit.
An interesting conversation to have. Hopefully I feel like we nailed down a general idea of what the indie genre should be.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
So, what are your opinions? What's your favorite indie game, and how would you classify indie?
Leave it down below. Oh, they probably didn't hear that. Leave it down below!
With a comment. Or you could even
Comment? Oh, shit, you said that. Oh, subscribe.
We do
I know.
Check us out on This Is the Itch on Twitch. Maybe we'll play an indie game. I know Eric is playing this Pure Solar, the Grand Architect.
Pure Solar Eclipse of the Grand Polar Express.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Smiley Dorky Heroes.
We do new videos, otherwise, every week.
Thanks for watching.